Hello, everyone. I hope that I'm live now. So, those who are watching me live, could you please confirm to me that whether I am properly visible, clearly audible, or not? So that within few minutes we can start today's live, and where we will discuss about the today's session, which is major focus is on the strings part in Python. I hope that before coming to this particular live, you already have watched my previous live session, which I have taken, I think, 2 days back, where we have talked about the variables in Python, and we have done a great in-depth session on that. And I have shown you step by step all the implementation part for the same as well, right? So Sampath has already confirmed to me that all is okay. So that's perfectly fine. So what I can do now is in the meanwhile, people are joining. I'll try to share my screen and you guys let me know that whether properly the setup is visible or not. So that after few seconds, maybe within 2 minutes more, I'll wait. And after that, I'll start the session where, as I already said, focus is on talking about the strings part in today's session. We will discuss in a very great detail, and we'll try to see all the things with the implementation per se, right? So that you will be easily able to get the understanding. At any point of time, if you get any sort of query, I always had a focus on my other side of a screen as well, where in the chat window I will keep on looking your questions and keep on answering your questions. Okay. So thanks for the topic, ma'am. You're welcome. So let me now just try to share my screen. Good evening, Sagar. So let me just give you a screen sharing part. Just give me a confirmation once I'll share completely. Sumit Ranjan Jha. Radhe Radhe Sumit. Okay. Hello, Saurabh. Is my screen is properly visible to everyone? सबको स्क्रीन दिख रहा है? I think everyone is able to see that. Pranam Mihir. Good evening, Divya. I think those who want to join live, everyone has joined now. And the screen is also visible, as many of them give me the confirmation now. So let's get started with the today's session. And step by step, we will try to cover up in a great detail. Again, this session is going to be very, very important session. And many people usually get confused in terms of doing a strings operations in Python. I will try to demonstrate you everything theoretically plus practically, and what are the real-time applications where we use all these things in a very great detail. You can consider that this session will be of almost 1 hour, as I always take at least 1 hour sessions. Can be of more than that, but at least I think 1 hour will be required to complete this session. So please be consistent and try to be there with me until the very end. Then only you will be able to get the gist of this session, and you will be able to get the learning out of this. And at the end of the session, once I will complete everything, I really want everyone to let me know in the comment section that what things we have covered up and what things you have learned, right? A great summary of that. Okay. So let's try to start the things. So Sumit is requesting that if possible, then speak in English. So okay, I'll try to speak in Hindi plus English, both of them. Okay. Where we code in which editor? Mihir, we will try to do everything in Google Colab so that we will not waste any sort of time in installation part in our local system, and everyone can access that, right? So last video mein I already have shared that there is nothing as such you have to do. Just in the Google Chrome, you have to tap on Google Colab. Whatever be the first link is coming up, just click on that and everything will be done. Okay. So now all the videos before starting the session will be there inside your Python playlist, which you can go and check it out. Like for example, if there is someone who will not able to, be with me in the previous sessions which I have taken. So we already have done two sessions. One was the recorded one where I have talked about the roadmap. Second video, which was a live one, was 2 days back where I have talked about variables in a lot more depth, in a very great detail with its implementation. Every implementation I have done on a Google Colab, and that's the flow we will follow in the upcoming sessions as well. Today's session is Python strings. Again, that particular session will also be recorded and will be there in this playlist itself. So everything is in a series so that no one will face a trouble. Even in future, if you want to go and check it out and revise the context, the content, you will be able to check it out. One more thing, very important. Many people are saying that where is the content of this sessions which I am taking here. So whatever be the live session notes, whatever be the code files which I am doing the live implementation, where it is going. So already I used to attach the link, but still for your references, if anyone doesn't know, just check it out. Priya Bhatia GitHub. If you will on the internet also search Priya Bhatia GitHub, you will be able to get the GitHub profile of mine in the very first link. Okay. So now after that, once you go there, it's a public profile which I have made it. Python Programming the Ultimate Playlist. You can go inside that. And if you will go inside that, with respect to every session, the content which we are covering up here will be available. So if suppose you want to check it out with respect to mastering variables in Python, so there is a collab file which is there. There is a PDF which is already available. Similarly, after completion of this session, I will upload that in that particular folder of, strings part. So everything is there, very beautifully designed and in a proper manner so that everyone will be able to get a help out of this. Okay. So now let's get started with the today's session. Today's objective is to talk about the strings in a very great detail. And I hope that you all are excited with me to start this great journey again, right? So whenever we are talking about strings, so if you remember in the last session, we have talked about variables. And what is a variable? It's a kind of a container, yeah, right, to store the values. Now we have talked about कि how many types of containers do we have. हमारे पास variables कितने types के होते हैं. So anyone can tell me how many different types of variables do we have? How many different types of data types that we have in variables? Can you tell me? So if you remember, we have talked about 5 different variables. So different types of variables. Anyone who is able to recall what we have covered up? This part I have covered up in the last live session. तो कौन से type थे? I have shown you also practically. The very first one was integer. Second one was float. Third one was Boolean. Right? Fifth one was? Anyone? Fifth one was? Very, very important. Yes, string. And the last, which we have covered up, is the complex type. Now, those who missed the last session, just now I have shown you, recordings are available. Please go after the session and check it out. Now, today's focus is completely on this string part. आज का जो objective रहेगा, वो पूरा के पूरा जो हमारा focus रहने वाला है, that is completely based on the string part. Okay. So let's try to go in lot more depth. We'll try to see what are the functions that we have in a string. We'll do the implementations for the same, how we can access any string, how we can access any substring, and you will observe with the help of this particular session will help you in maximum data science projects, in maximum DSA based questions. If in an interview, if you will go and someone will ask you the DSA based questions, then also it will be able to help you out. So let's get started with respect to the string part now. So the very first thing is how we can do the initialization of a string. And that I already have talked about in my last session. कैसे initialization करते हैं string का? How we can do the initialization? So if you remember, let's take a simple example here. I will say str1, which is equals to, now you all know that in Python, there is no specific need to define the variable name with its type. Automatically, when you define this by the name of Priya, it will be able to take this as a str type. I can show you. Let's run this particular file. If possible, please try to do it with me. Just open the Google Colab file and do it with me, everything, whatever I am doing, so that you will be able to get a very amazing learning out from this session. Okay? Do it with me. Just open the Google Colab file with me. And in future also, always make sure that whenever you are coming in this particular YouTube live, prior that itself, when the session is about to start, your setup is ready. Your new collab file will be opened up, and you should have copy pen or wherever you can suppose write the notes, so that you will be able to take advantage of this session very much aptly. Okay. So now, if let's say I want to check it out, that what is the type of this string, so what I can do, I can simply say type of str1. So once I will check this out, I hope you all remember in the last session we have covered up, this particular function will give me what is the data type of this variable that we have, which is str1. And what is the answer you're getting? It's a string one. So this is the simple initialization that we can do of a string part. Now, that's completely fine. That's completely fine. Now, let's suppose that, I want to access any sort of value in this particular str1. So as of now, my str1 contains Priya. Now, how will it look like? Just try to understand. Yeah, now this is what I'm trying to show you. How this str1 is equals to Priya will look like internally. So what happens is, it's in a way kind of a structure is kind of an array of characters, okay, where you will be having P, R, I, Y, and A. Okay. So when you are saying Priya, so it will be P, R, I, Y, A. And this is what you have defined in str1. Now you all know that whenever in an array we have a characters values, because it's a string, it will always by default start from which value? Index number will always start from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So basically you can access any character in a given string by passing its index number. So what I am saying is that random access is possible. And with the help of this random access property, you can access any of the character in a particular string, right? So if I'll just show you now, for example, if just I'll say, what is the value of str1 of, let's say, 3? So what is the answer we should get? What is the answer we should get in this particular string? Anyone who can let me know? Because after this session, tomorrow morning, you will get few quiz questions, which I will upload in the community post itself, just like the way I have done for the variables part. So if you will listen this particular session properly, then only you will be able to answer those quiz questions as well. So please make sure, tell me the answer. Very good. So many people have said that we will be able to get the answer as Y, because you can clearly see that just like in arrays, we will be able to access that. Here also we are able to access the value as Y. Make sense? So now let's see whether we are getting the same answer or not. So if I'll say str1 of 3. So if I'll just run this particular code, what I will be able to get? Let's see. So I will be able to get the answer as Y, which is what we have expected. Means in a given string, we will be able to access any character just by passing its index number. Is this part is sorted to everyone? Is this part is clear to everyone? Shall we move ahead? Now, apart from this, there is another amazing property of a Python programming language that we have, which you might not be aware of, those who are learning for the very first time. And that fundamental property is that in Python, when you are saying that you will be having an array structure, array-based structure, you can also start from right to left. As of now, I'm doing left to right, right? By default, index will start from 0 and you're moving towards 4. I'm saying that in Python, we have a accessibility to start from right to left, means in a backward direction. And the index number, which is internally by default defined, is -1, -2, -3, -4, and -5. Very, very important property. So basically, you can access the last element by just passing str1 of -1. If let's say you will write this statement, what is the output you will be able to expect here? Anyone? So the output you will be able to expect is A. Because -1 will be always present towards the extreme right. So what is the character present in the extreme right is A. Similarly, if I'll say, what is the value of str of -5? So what is the answer you are expecting here? It will be capital P. Makes sense? So the answer which you will be able to get is capital P in this scenario. So let's try to move ahead and we'll try to see whether we are getting the similar answer or not. So if let's say I'll say -1. So if I'll just run this, you will be able to see that we're getting the answer as A. Similarly, if I'll say str1 of -5, so again, if you will observe, you are getting an answer as capital P. Is this part is clear to everyone? So we have discussed until so far in this session that first of all, how we can do the initialization of a string. So the very first point which you have to note it down until so far is that how we can do a initialization of a string in Python. Then I have talked about that how the indexing of the characters in the string happened, which is from, we have talked about, one is forward direction where we are talking about 0 to n minus 1, and one is backward direction where we are talking about -1 to negative of n minus 1, whatever be the value that you have. So one way is to start from forward from 0 to n minus 1, where n is the size of the string 1. Similarly, backward -1 to minus n minus 1. So basically, this is something which you have to always take care of. Forward and backward direction, how the indexing will happen. Now, let's say you want to access the length of a string. You want to check what is the length of the given string that you have. So in Python, we have a function called as len. If you will tap on len and you will ask str1, this function will return you the size of the string. So what is the current size of a string that you have? You will be able to get that. So if you just run this code, you will be able to get the answer as 5, which is very much apt, because here if you will observe, you are getting 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 5 characters are there in the str1. So in this case, we will be able to get an idea that how basically we will be able to get the length of the string. Is this part is clear to everyone? So far, so good. Shall we move ahead now to the next important functions that we have in Python? Now we will try to see what are the inbuilt functions of the string that we have, which we can use in order to make our task very easily. So I'll not talk about all the functions that we have because there are so many functions in a string that we have, but I'll talk about the major functions which are very important for you all to understand and for you all to know. Okay, so what are the important inbuilt functions that you should know? That's what we will talk about in this session. So the very first function, so if I'll just say str1 dot, so now within few seconds you can see there is a list of functions that you will be able to get. So all these functions are the inbuilt functions. What is the meaning of inbuilt function? The simple meaning is that I'm not defining any function. By default, in this particular Python programming language, we already have these functions predefined. We can just directly use that. For example, we will start with, let's say, function name find. And if I'll just pass it out, in this case, if let's say I'll say that, find, I'm saying A. So what this find function will do? This find function will help you to let you know that where this A character is belonging. It will give you the index of that. So let's run this. Can you see that this A, it is giving me the answer as 4? Can you see that? Where this A is present in our string? Can I say it is present at 4? So basically, it's kind of a searching operation. So I hope you all are aware of in DSA, we have searching operations. So what find is doing? Find is trying to do the searching operation internally and will try to give us the index number of any character that we want to check it out. So A is present at 4th index, so it is giving me the 4th index. Let's say if I will pass any character which is not at all available in this str1, what I am saying is, let's say I will pass Z. I'll say str1 dot find, and let's say inside that I will pass Z. So what do you think? What this function will return? Anyone? Any guess? As you can see in this str1, Z is not at all available. Okay, so how will it be able to give me the answer? Any expectations you have? Any guesses you have? So the question is that what if we will pass as an input that character which is not at all available in the str1? So Himanshu is saying the answer will be null. Let's see whether it's null or not. So I'll say str1 dot find, and here I'll say Z. So if you will observe, If I'll just run this code, what I'm getting is the answer as -1. So if you remember, in our searching operations, whether we are applying a linear search or a binary search, if you will observe, that's what I usually do in my code implementation. Also, if you will go check it out in my videos, I always write a code in a way that if the element is present, we will try to return the index number. If it's not present, we always say that return -1. So by default, internally, developers also designed a code of this find function in Python programming in such a way that if the character is present, it will try to return us the index number. If it is not present, it will try to return us the answer as -1. So -1 indicates simply that the character which you are looking for is not at all available in your string. Is that part is fine to everyone? So note, it will not return null. It will not return the value as false. So some people have said false will be returned. Some people have said null will be returned. No, the answer is completely wrong. It will return the answer as -1, which indicates that the character which we are looking for is not at all present in the array. Shall we move ahead now with the next important function that we have? So this is the very first function that we have talked about. Shall we move ahead to the next function that we have? Yes or no? Yes, this is by default. I have not designed this code. So this is what I am saying. These functions are inbuilt functions. These are not user defined functions. So by default, so what we have discussed here, so find is like search a character in a string. And there is no need to remember anything, by the way. I have also not remembered these things. Documentation you can refer whenever you feel any sort of doubt, right? So what it is doing here, if you will observe here, if a character is present, if there is a character in a string, what it will return? It will return the index number. Return the index. If if the character if the character is not in a string, is not in a string, so what it is doing? It is returning the -1. I hope now it is having much better clarity. I have written everything here. So that's how the logic is working here, right? But ma'am, -1 is also index in reverse of the string. So Sagar is saying that just now, a few minutes back, you talked about that -1 is the last index in our uh, in our Python programming. That's true. But when find function is returning the answer, right? So they always talk about forward direction. They will always give you the result in the forward direction. Always remember that by default, whatever results you will get from these inbuilt functions, the indexes per se, you will always get in the forward direction, not in the backward direction. I hope now it is clear, right? So just don't remember, uh, internally these things are fine, that there is a forward and there is a backward, but internally dot find function or any of the function that we will discuss in future will always take the values considering only in the forward direction, not considering in the backward direction. They're designed in such a way. Is this part is clear to everyone? Now I hope there is no confusion, right? So output will always be in the forward part, not in the backward part. So just forget when you're getting the output that there is anything regarding for backward which we have discussed. Okay? So what I am saying here, that dot find function will give you the result. If the index is available, it will give you the output in the forward direction. What is the meaning of a forward direction? Means you will be able to get positive indexes always. So when I am saying find function or beat any other function, you will always get a positive indexes return. Okay? You will never ever get negative index return. Negative index only, negative value you only able to get when there is no character present in the string. Okay? So by default, this is designed that it will always focus on the forward index part, not on the backward index part, whenever you are using any sort of inbuilt function, I'm saying. Inbuilt functions. Okay? Is this part is clear to everyone? Yes or no? Can I get some confirmation? Yes or no? So forward direction, always remember in the returning part, that backward thing will never ever return. So minus 1 is not indicating the last value, it is indicating that no character is present in the string. Simple talk I am giving here. Okay, let's move ahead now to the next amazing function that we have. So next function which I will talk about is the split function. Is the split function. As the name itself suggests, it will try to split your data into a list. So what I am saying here, let's say you are saying text is equal to hello Priya. Okay. Sumit, we will talk about slicing within few minutes. Before that, let's first of all focus on the inbuilt functions. Then we will talk about slicing as well in this session. Okay. Now, what I am doing here is I'll try to use the split function here. So let's say I'll say text dot split. So what will happen now? Any guesses? As the name itself suggests, what it will do is there are two possible words that we have, and it will try to split those words in a list. So this bracket which you are looking here, right? Which you're looking here, this bracket is something in terms of Python programming language is called as a list. So what happened here? Split function will split the sentence into individual words, which you can call it as a tokens as well, and return it in the form of a list. Always remember that. Split function in Python, again, very, very important. Whenever, so sometimes what happens is this kind of a things are usually helpful whenever you are solving any NLP based project, natural language processing. I don't know how many of you are aware of this domain. So whenever you are dealing with textual based data and you want to analyze that data, for example, sentiment analysis, whether it's a positive sentiment or negative sentiment, the very first step is that given a sentence, split that into words. So this is what we will do there, right? We will try to apply in Python split function, which basically helps to split the data into individual words that we have. Is this part is clear to everyone? Yes or no? Split is clear. So what it will do? Now, let's move to the next question. Let's say that I want to replace this word of Priya. I want to replace the word Priya to Python. Okay? So let's say you will be having a very bigger text. As of now, so we are taking very simple examples. But let's say considering that you will be having very bigger text and you want to convert every word present there in that complete text with from Priya to Python. So what you will do? You will say text dot replace. Now, what you will do? You will pass that what is the word you want to replace and with which word you want to replace. So you will say that I want to replace Priya, I want to replace Priya with the word Python. So now what will happen? Once you will run this, what you will be able to get as an output is, you will be able to get the output as hello Python. Is this part is clear to everyone? So replace function will simply replace any of the word which you want to replace to another word. Now, let's try to see one more thing here. If I'll just now try to check it out, what is the text value I will be having? Can I check? If I'll say that now tell me, what do you think is the text value we will be able to have? Is this hello Priya or hello Python? If I just run this code, what do you think? What is the output we will be able to get? Is this hello Priya or hello Python? Anyone who can make a guess? So if I'll just run this text part, so in this text, hello Python should be there or hello Priya should be there. Okay, let's run this now because many people have given the answer. So what you are looking into? Everyone gave the wrong answer. It's hello Priya, which was already there initially. Means changes doesn't happen. And why is that so? Because you have not done something called as reassignment here. Do you remember the concept of reassignment which I have talked about in the last session? So you have not changed the text, you have just make a replica of that. But if you want to change the actual text, you have to make a reassignment again, right? In the RAM, text was having hello Priya, and then you just make text dot replace, but you didn't put that value again into the text. That's what the problem is happening. Now let's look into this. If I'll just again run this, now what I'm getting as the answer is hello Python. So if you want that change to be reflected in the same variable, what you have to do, you have to do the reassignment. So you have to do again the reassignment. Always remember that. Okay? Vikas is saying when we use split method, so as I already said, that split method will be useful whenever you are trying to analyze the individual words in a given text. So in a real time application, this particular function is quite useful in NLP domain. NLP is natural language processing, where in data science we usually, this domain is the one where we usually deal with the textual based data. For example, I have given you the example also that you want to analyze the sentiment analysis, right? Where you want to check whether it's a positive sentiment or a negative sentiment. So for that, you need to split your data into individual words. Then you will check that out, right? Yes, that will be based on the space, right? For example, if I'll just combine this hello Priya and if I'll just again run this, you will just get only one thing, right? So when I'm saying on the basis of words, means on the basis of that space value which you have by default. Make sense? Okay, now let's move ahead. So how many functions we have explored so far? So we have talked about the function named find. Then we have talked about function named split. Then we have talked about function named replace. I hope so far so good. So here, whatever functions I'm talking about, all these are very frequently used. And always remember that these functions at least you are already aware of. And whenever someone will say to you that do this task, frequently by using these functions, you can do that without having that much burden. Let's move to the next particular function that we have, which is something called as a count function. Now, this function is also very important to understand. Basically, what it will do is it will count the characters, count the given characters. So basically, let's say you want to check that, um, let's say you will be having str2, which is equals to, you are saying Priya Bhatia. Okay. This is the string str2 that you have. Now, what you want to do is you want to check str2.count and you want to check how many number of times a character appear here. How many number of times this a character appear in str2? Can you tell me how many times this appear? How many times? How many times? How many times a character appear in the str2? So if I'll just run this, many people already have given the correct answer. It is 3. So basically, whenever you want to check it out that any character is available, and if yes, how many times, how much duplicacy is there, simply you can use this count function and you will be able to get the answer, right? Internally, it is just counting the frequency of every character that you have. Let's say you are writing some word which is not present. Again, same question. Let's say if I write z here, which is not at all available in this particular string that we have, and let's run this, what you're getting the answer as by default 0. Obviously, so from A to Z, it's kind of a hash table is being maintained internally, and initially all the frequencies of character from A to Z is 0. Whenever match is there, increment will go on. I hope you all know that how we can count of a frequency of a character by using a hash table. If you don't know, please check it out my Fang DSA playlist and DSA using Python playlist. Definitely, I have covered up these concepts in a very detailed manner. So just know the logic behind that. So let's say again, A, I'm moving ahead. So it will be 3. Okay. Now let's move ahead to the next interesting function that we have. And that is something in the data pre-processing part. That is when we are dealing with the NLP based domain. तो जब भी हम डेटा प्री प्रोसेसिंग करते हैं मींस वी वांट टू कन्वर्ट लेट्स से आवर एंटायर डेटा into uppercase, Or let's say my need is to convert entire data in the complete lowercase. Because if you all remember, in the last session I have talked about that Python is a case sensitive programming language. Means capital character and small character will be treated differently. For example, if I'll just show you the demonstration, if I'll say str2.count and if I'll say b, what do you think is the answer we will be able to get here? In this function, what is the answer? What do you think you will be thinking here we will be able to get? How many times this b is there? Any guesses? Anyone? How many times b is there? Anyone? Any guesses? Everyone is saying 0. I was expecting that someone will say 1 as well. But that's good. It means the audience is listening everything from very depth. So when I'm saying small b, you will get the answer as 0, not 1. See this? But if I just say str2 dot count and here I'll just say capital B, you will see that you will be able to get the answer as 1. It means that it's a case sensitive programming language where small case letter or character and uppercase character will be treated differently. Make sense? Now what I want is, let's say I want to convert all the characters that I have in str2 to lowercase. So let's say I want to do the conversion to lowercase characters. Okay? So what you will do, you will say str dot lower. Simple. Once you do that, what do you think you will be able to get? I think this is the only function. Let's try to see. So if you will observe here, you are getting all the values. If you will observe here in the above part, P was capital, B was capital, but now everything is in a small case. Similarly, let's say you want to do a conversion to a uppercase characters. So what you can do, you can say str2 dot upper. And once you run this, you will observe that you're getting the correct answer as all the values. Complete name is displayed as capital PRIYA BHATIA. Does that make sense? Is this clear to everyone? Very simple, right? Conversion to lowercase and the uppercase is very simple. Now, there is one another amazing function that we have, which we called as a swap case. Now, let's say that I want to swap case. So what I want to do here is, I want to convert in my actual string str2, whatsoever capital letter characters are there, I want to convert that into a small character, small case, and whatever with the small case I have, I want to convert it into a uppercase. So str2 dot swap case. If you just run this, you will be easily able to observe that what is happening here. Swap happened means lower case converted to upper and vice versa. Can you see that? Can you see that? Is this part is clear? So whatsoever be the smaller case will be converted to uppercase. Uppercase will be converted to a lower case. Is this part is clear to everyone? Button capitalize. We are moving to that point, Sumit. Just wait for a while. So far, so good. Every function is clear to everyone. I think now we have covered up a lot more functions in a string that we have. Now, let's move to few more functions and then we will talk about another amazing concept in string, that is slicing. Very, very important. And the end of the session will be talked about that slicing concept only in a very great detail. So please stay tuned, because if you don't know that concept, string is incomplete without that. So let's move ahead now. And here now we will talk about something called as capitalize and title function. So let's say you will be having a str3 and here I'm writing one sentence. Now, as of now, I'm just writing a few words, right? Now, what I will do is I just want to write any sentence here. So let's say I will say that this is the mastering Python strings master class hosted by Priya Bhatia. Okay? So I am writing this particular sentence. Now, what I am trying to do here is, Let's say now, please, this function is many people got confused here. So please try to pay attention. I'm using two functions here. One function is called as title function, and another function which I will try to define here is something which we call as capitalize function. Capitalize function. In an interviews, maximum number of times this question has been asked that what is the difference between these two functions. So let's try to understand. If I'll say str3 dot and I'll pass the function title, okay? This function, let's see what it will be able to do. Can you see this function in the complete sentence that you have will try to convert every character, every first character to capital. Okay? In the complete sentence, title function will help to convert every word first character in a complete sentence, every word first character in a capital form. This is the utility of a title function. But there is another amazing function that we have, which we call as str3 dot capitalize. Yeah, this is the function name. So now, if you will run this, what it is doing, this function will only capitalize the first word, first character. So if in future or if in any quiz, if I'll give you in tomorrow, those people only give the correct answer. Always remember, title will try to convert every word, every unique word, first character in a capital case. Capitalize, on the other hand, will only convert first word, first character in a capital case. That's the difference. Is this part is clear to everyone? And all these functions, whether it's a lowercase, uppercase, swap case, title, capitalize, is usually and widely used in textual based data pre-processing that we usually do in NLP based problems. Always remember that. That's the real time implication of these functions. Now, this is the overall talk behind the major important functions that we have in string. There are other functions also that we have. Maybe I'll introduce those in the quiz questions also, so that you will do your own research on top of those particular questions also. Now, before moving ahead, now I'll talk about another important aspect in strings that is very important, and that is the concept of slicing. You must have heard of this term, strings slicing. Indexing we already have discussed, right? So in the very initial part, I have talked about indexing. Now, the second important concept of strings that I'm talking about here is slicing. Consider that you order a Domino's pizza. In the complete pizza, you want to take a slice, right? Let's say you are ordering a regular based pizza, and that pizza is having, let's say, 6 slices, and you will be having 6 friends. So you're dividing that step by step, right? Taking a slice of that complete pizza. Similarly, when you have a complete string, you want to take a slice of that string. How will you do that? That's the question that you have to ask from yourself. In other words, if you want to take a substring of a given string, how you can take that? So let's try to focus on that point now. Okay? So let's say again, we will be having str1, which is Priya, which is already defined. Let's say I am saying that I want to maybe print the first 3 characters, this, and this. What I will do? I want to print a first 3 characters, and what I will do? Please try to understand. You know the index number, starting index number is 0. Ending index number is 2. So always remember that whenever you're talking about a slicing, you will say str1. What is the starting one? 0 index, colon. What is the ending index? +1, which is 3. Remember, what is the ending index? +1. Because the last value which you're mentioning here is not included in the printing part. This is not included in the printing part. So always remember that whenever you're trying to print the characters of a string, that will be last character which you want to print +1 index. So if you want to print the first 3 characters, you will say str1, start from 0, go until 3, then you will be able to get the answer as PRI. Is this part is clear to everyone? Make sense? Yes or no? Now let's say I want to jump my character values by 1, by 2, let's say. Meaning, what I want as an output is, I want the output as, firstly P will be printed, then R will be skipped, then I will be printed, then Y will be skipped, then A will be printed. This is the another problem that I'm saying. So what I have said, please listen the problem carefully, then think about it. I'm saying I want to skip one character in between, and I want to print the complete string that I have. I want to print all the complete string, skipping one character in between. Means P, then I, then A. Means I want 0 index to be printed first, then I want to jump towards 2 index, then at 4 index, and so on. So what I will do here? So in the str1, you are saying that start from 0 index, go until the very end. So there is no need to define the end. It will by default assume that whatever be the ending is there. And you are saying that jump by 2 steps. Means 0, then 2, then 4, and so on. The last particular part indicates how many jumps you want to make. How many jumps you want to make. So by default, you are saying start from 0. Even if you will not mention, it will always start from 0. So by default, you're saying start from 0. So either you can say 0, then what is the ending index that you have, which is 4. So 0, then you are saying go until 5, because last index plus 1 you have to explore. And then by 2 steps you want to jump. So you will be able to get the answer as PIA. That's what I want, PIA. Also, you can write the same thing like this. There is no need to define what is the starting index. By default, it will be 0. There is no need to define what is the ending index. By default, it will be 5. It will automatically pre-assume. You will define 2 because you want to jump by 2 steps. First index will be 0, then 2, then 4, then 6, and so on. So basically now, again, if you will just click on this, you will get the same answer. Is this part is clear to everyone? Very, very important. Many students faced issues in these concepts. Slicing is one of the very important concept, and many students get confused in these concepts. That's why I'll try to discuss in a very detail with a lot more depth. If you got any sort of confusion in between, please do ask the questions if you have. Okay? Is this clear now? So Sachin have asked that str colon and then 3. It's right or wrong? It's right. By default, there is no need to define 0. If you want to define, as I already said, you can define. There is no need to define as such. Okay? Now, let's say, okay, this is fine. Now let's say what I want to do here is, I want to define AIP. I want to define. So I want the answer. Please listen again, problem statement. What I'm saying is, now what I want the answer as, I want the answer as A, I, and then capital P. How I will get? A, I, capital P. Let's make it easy. First of all, let's say easy problem. I want to simply reverse this string. I want A, then Y, then I, then R, then capital P. I want to reverse the string. How can I do? Simple problem. This problem can be asked from you in an interview as well. I want to reverse the string. So now, you know the indexes, right? 0 to 4. You can go back. You want to go back. So what you will do? To reverse the string, what you will do? So what is the higher index number from where you want to start? It is 4, right? So you will say str1, you will say start with the 4th index, okay? Now, ending index will be, go until ending index, it will go until the very end. Then, what you want is, do -1. Means 4, then 3, then 3, 2, then 1, then 0. So what you are saying, start from 4, go until the end, do -1. Let's see what we will be able to get. Let's see whether we are getting the correct answer or not. So what we are saying, str1 start with 4 colon go at the extreme left colon -1. Let's see what we will be able to get. So we are getting the answer as AYRIRP. So this is nothing but, if you will observe, is the simple reversal of a complete string that we have. Also, if let's say you want to write str1 and you don't want to define the starting index, it's completely fine. Automatically it will pre-assume, because you are mentioning -1, it will assume that okay, you want to start from the extreme right and move towards the extreme left with the -1. So if you just again run this, you will be again getting the same answer. So that's the simple implication. So one thing which you always remember here is how basically we are doing this slicing operation. Always remember that this is a complete scale that you have, right? Complete string that you have. You will be having 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 index number. So let's say you want to get these in between strings values. So that's very simple. What I said you, str of what is the starting index? 1. What is the ending index? +1, 5. So definitely you will be able to get the answer as a values that you have. Let's say you will be having PRIYA BH. So you will be able to get the answer as RIY and A. That's quite simple. That's quite simple. Now, by default, always remember the third column which we have in this is 1. This is the by default jump factor. That how many values you want to jump. This is the start index, from where you want to start. This is the end index +1. Always remember, that's how by default values are defined. Very, very important concept. Again, I am repeating. Let's say you want to get the reverse operation. You want to get the reverse operation. So you have to define str. Let's say you want AYIR. So what you will do? You will say, what is the start index? It is 4. What is the end index? So end index -1 you have to define, which is 0. By what values you want to jump? -1. So in this way, you will be able to get the answer as AYIR. So this is the start index. This is the end index -1. And this is the jump, because you are doing -1, -1, -1. So it's a kind of a reversal that you are doing here. Is this part is clear to everyone? Yes or no? Make sense? Now, many people are saying that when we are using negative indexes, how will it happen? Same thing. You can apply negative index as well. For example, here, let's say you want to print the value of, let's say, A, Y, and -1. So what you will do? A, Y, and I. What will you do? str1, str1. What I'm saying is, you want to display what? A, Y, and I. Can anyone tell me what should I do? What should I write here? It should be in terms of negative indexing. I'm saying, if you want to access from negative base indexing, what you should write? -1 to anyone who can let me know? So if we will write -1 to -4. Is this correct? Let's run this. Let's try to run this. We are not getting anything. What is the meaning of that? I am saying -1 to -4, and I'm not getting the answer. I'm getting an empty string here. Why is that so? Okay. Someone is saying -1 to -3. No. Let's try. Nothing. So what I want to return here is, please listen this problem, think carefully and then give me the answer. What I want to return is, I want to return the answer as a string which is of A, Y, I. Okay? A, Y, I. How can I do this? Whatever learning you have gained so far, can you give me a string See, we have seen how we will be able to get this, how we will be able to get this. Now I just want a y I. That's it. How can I do this? It's very simple. Anyone? So if you remember, in the very start of the session, I have talked about that whenever we are dealing with any built-in functions of a string, always focus on the forward direction. We can access any element, negative direction also, -1, -2, -3, -4. If you will manually define it, -1, -2, you will be able to get the answer. I have shown you also. But in the slicing part, again, focus on that forward direction path. Meaning, starting index, let's say you want extreme right value, it will automatically take. Just mention in between index. Until what value you want to look for? You want to go for 4, then 3, then 2. So 2 is the last point. Go 2 further, one move towards left. It will be 1. Right? Ending part should be, can you see that? What I have mentioned here, start, it will automatically start with the extreme right. Then I'm saying go until 1 index. Why 1? Because I want my output till this point. So at the end index, I will give next value. -1 means 4, then 3, then 2, and so on. Let's see what we will be able to get now. Are we getting the answer? Yes or no? Okay. So is this part is clear to everyone now? What I'm trying to convey here? Yes or no? So basically, in negative direction when you are going, in the reverse direction when you are going, always remember, the only thing where people get confused is that at ending index, in the reversal path also, just like the way in the forward direction I told you, give one step ahead. In the negative direction, in the reverse direction also, give one step before, right? If you want to print until 2 index, give the value of 1. If you want to print until 1 index, give the value of 0. If you want to print until 0 index, just print colon. It will print the output. I hope it makes sense to everyone. So this is the overall idea which I want to give in this session. I think it's approximately 1 hour. So in today's session, in a conclusion part, we have completely focused on string portion, where I have talked about how we can initialize that, how we can do the assignment and reassignment of that string. We have talked about various built-in functions of a string. We have talked about how the indexing is being done in a string. We have talked about how the slicing part is done in a string. Okay. Now, in the future part, like tomorrow, you will be able to get so many in the morning, then maybe in the afternoon or in the evening, and day after tomorrow as well. You will be able to get quiz questions, okay, in my community post. So please do subscribe to my channel if you have not subscribed, so that you will be able to get the notification that okay, something came up. And I really want you all to make sure that you will fill the answers. I will mark the correct answer as well, so that you will get to know that what is the correct answer of this particular question. So I will give you only the questions based on the string portion. So because I'm talking about the quiz only, so let me give you the illustration what I'm trying to convey here. So if you will go to the community part, okay, on my channel, what you're observing here, can you see? I have taken the quiz of previous portion also. Can you see that? So this is completely based on the last portion which we have covered up, variables part. So the correct answer was hello world, right? In this case. So this is how basically now I will give you the quiz questions on the strings portion. Tomorrow morning questions will come, right? Until so far, whatever things we have covered up, please try to revise the things. Please make sure if there is someone who is looking for this kind of a content, your friend or your classmates, do share these videos so that they will also able to get the clarity over these concepts. And tomorrow, again, participate in all these quizzes, so that these quizzes will help you to understand that how much understanding you will be able to gain from this session. So I always try to give you the fundamental based questions and whatever topics I have covered up from those sessions. So definitely, if you're giving a wrong answer, you will be able to get the explanation that why is this wrong. Okay? And if you're getting a correct answer, I will give you the explanation why is this correct. Right? Similarly, if you will observe, I have given you so many questions, right? So for example, in this case, 20 is the correct answer. Maximum votes are of 20 only. Similarly, in this case, float was the correct answer. Only 1% student gave the wrong answer, 2% says none. Similarly, this kind of questions will come up again with respect to the strings part now. Okay? Can you speak English? I'm trying to do English and Hindi mix, but the problem is, few of the audiences will not able to understand the Hindi language. I'm also comfortable in both languages, but the problem is that there are students who are not from India, and they are facing a trouble in understanding the Hindi language. So I try to do it more in English. Sometimes in between I will speak in Hindi as well. तो जहां पर भी आपको लगता है कि यू आर नॉट एबल टू अंडरस्टैंड इन द इंग्लिश पार्ट एंड यू वांट कि हिंदी में बोलूं उस चीज को मैं, तो मुझे बता देना, आई विल स्पीक इन दैट. ठीक है. What is the duration of this mastering Python? Minimum 1 month is required. ठीक है. Minimum 1 month is required, you can consider. तो अब अगला सेशन जो होगा, the next session will be on day after tomorrow. ठीक है. So on Monday we will again meet at the same time, approximately 7 p.m. only. Meanwhile, tomorrow I will try to put on the questions, and then maybe we will be able to get the further follow up towards this. So now let me stop sharing the screen and we'll take your questions now. ठीक है. I hope you enjoyed the session. समझ में आया? Let's do some chit chat now, and then after few minutes I'll go. Hi Priya, I was able to understand the logic of code manually, but when coming to code implementing and writing code, I was unable to do. I was bad at it, so I need suggestion what to do. देखो, Pawan, this problem happens for everyone. This is not for you. So, as I always say, that please try to do practice more. When we start something, we usually learn it from somewhere. It's like जब छोटा बच्चा चलना सीखता है, तो वो गिरता भी है, फिर देखता है किसी और को कि वो तो गिर रहे हैं, वो भी उठ रहे हैं, तो आई विल ऑल्सो डू द सेम. तो अगर आप किसी के लॉजिक को देख के समझ पा रहे हो, मैनुअली समझ पा रहे हो, इट्स अ गुड स्टार्ट. ठीक है. But then you have to keep on doing the practicing. Implementation and writing code will only you will be able to get expertise over when you will write the code again and again. Okay? It requires some time, requires patience, then only you will be able to achieve the final outcome. Okay? स्लाइस मेथड ज्यादा क्लियर होता नेक्स्ट क्लास में हिंदी में एक्सप्लेन करना. ठीक है. वी विल आई विल स्टार्ट द नेक्स्ट क्लास बाय गिविंग यू फ्यू क्वेश्चंस ऑन स्लाइसिंग, और उसके बाद उस क्वेश्चन को फिर हिंदी में भी डिस्कस कर लेंगे, और फिर उसके बाद हम आगे चलेंगे. बट उससे पहले कल आपके पास में बहुत सारे क्वेश्चंस स्लाइसिंग के बेसिस पे आने वाले हैं, एंड देन वी विल डिस्कस. ठीक है. स्लाइसिंग इज बाय द वे वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टॉपिक. अगर फिर भी कुछ डाउट रह जाता है, एक बार वीडियो को दोबारा चेक करना जो मैंने आज समझाया पढ़ाया. इफ स्टिल यू गेट्स एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ डाउट, यू कैन ऑल्सो मेंशन योर डाउट इन द कमेंट सेक्शन. मैं उसको रिप्लाई करने का कोशिश करूंगी एज सुन एज पॉसिबल. ठीक है. You are the best teacher ever. Thank you so much, Vikas. After JS, is it good to start Python? Yes, definitely you can. What's your BTech college? My BTech college was JP Institute. It's in Noida. JIIT, JP Institute of Information Technology. So I have done my bachelor's from there. You can check out my LinkedIn profile. You will get to know the complete detail. ठीक है. ओके देन, आई थिंक सभी क्वेश्चंस के आंसर मैंने दे दिए आप लोगों को. थैंक यू सो मच फॉर ज्वाइनिंग इन. आई होप दैट यू फाइंड दिस सेशन इंसाइटफुल. If you do, please hit like button, share this content with each and everyone. I really require your support in order to reach to more audience. It requires a lot of effort from my side to create the content, then deliver it in a proper way, to curate it in a proper way so that you will be able to get the things. So if you want these things to be keep going, so I really want from your side, the help, the support also, so that we will be able to get something out of it. Okay. So with this, bye bye everyone, and I'll see you all very soon in the next upcoming live, which is most probably day after tomorrow. अगर किसी ने अभी भी व्हाट्सएप चैनल को ज्वाइन नहीं किया है, मैं सारी इन्फॉर्मेशन सबसे पहले वहीं पे डिलीवर करती हूँ, उसके बाद लिंक्डइन पोस्ट पे जाता है. सो इफ यू वांट to stay connected with me and want to get information on a priority basis, do join that WhatsApp channel. And after that, you can also connect with me via LinkedIn so that you will get the idea that at what point of time which thing is happening here on my channel. Okay. Um are you currently in Hyderabad? No, I am not in Hyderabad now. I have completed my master's, so I am in Bangalore where I am working. Okay. Link, please share. So basically, link के लिए you can access it, I think, in my community post. तो आप मेरे community post पे जाके देख लेना, आपको लिंक मिल जाएगा. ठीक है, व्हाट्सएप लिंक मेरे कम्युनिटी पोस्ट पे जाके देख लेना, मिल जाएगा आपको. मैंने कम्युनिटी लिंक में डाल रखा है, इवन लिंक्डइन प्रोफाइल पे भी मिल जाएगा. ऑल्सो अगर मान लो किसी को ज्वाइन होने में प्रॉब्लम आ रहा है, ऐसा पहले बहुत बच्चों के साथ हुआ, तो प्लीज ट्राई टू अपडेट योर व्हाट्सएप, तो उसके बाद इशू नहीं आएगा. ठीक है. ओके देन, बाय बाय एवरीवन एंड सी या.